Thank you so much for joining me here today. I thought I will share with you some of the best qualities the audio producers have, in my opinion and experience, over the last, nearly a decade, which is actually scary to even think about. I've had a pleasure of working with many very, very skilled audio producers. Some of them were absolutely amazing at the work they were delivering. Others not so much so. Some had amazing attitudes, others not so much so too. So I thought, combining all of that experience, I'm going to share with you effectively my list of the best, what makes the best audio producer. What does it take in a way to be a great audio producer as well. Just putting, in a sense, let's put aside the skills, because obviously that's the obvious element. There are so many other elements that we need to look at. So number one is the attitude to work. Now, this one thing has kind of many layers to it, because there are different things that I would consider under that part. So, for example, what kind of attitude do you have if a customer comes back with a negative feedback? Do you take it on with a smile on your face, move on and say, okay, well, client is always right? Or do you grumble and say, oh, how dare clients say this? Or, they are, I don't know. They don't know what they are talking about. I've done exactly what they've done. So, there are two different ways you can approach this. Obviously, there will be different clients, different types of returns, but the attitude is always there. So in the past, we've worked with some producers who were really like the best audio production, and you sometimes listen to the stuff that they return, and it's like, wow, how have they done this? But the attitude to work hasn't been as great. So it makes life a little bit harder. And definitely, that attitude to the returns is a good way to measure things, because in a way it measures how high is your ego in a sense. It really, really does. And the best producers have been those with rather smaller egos and willingness to be open to being wrong. The best quality, I would say, is willing to be wrong, and it's probably one of the hardest ones because of the fact that we all have egos. Another thing that is super important is kind of willingness to learn and to continue learning. So once again, I've worked with producers who had attitude that they've learned all that they could. They are the best, they are really good, and there were those who, even though they are really, really skilled, they are always learning and always coming with an attitude of I don't know it all. I want to know more. And we have a huge privilege of working with some really skilled producers right now. I am going to actually give one example of somebody on our team. His name is Nonso. Over the now years, actually, he has proven to be just one of the biggest sponges for knowledge there are. If there is ever anything we throw at him and he's unsure, he will go and research and he will find out and he will practice until he's mastered that next thing. So it's just wonderful to see that, and I absolutely love working with people like that, because with people like that, you can move the mountains, and it doesn't matter how high the mountain will be moved. And it is the attitude. You see, I will once again highlight it's the attitude that matters here, and not necessarily the level of skill. So, when we look at producer Nonsa, for example, when he started, he was, his level of production was really good. But where he's now, it's nowhere near where he was when he started, and it's simply thanks to the attitude he adopted along the way. So that's another very, very important aspect and quality of a great producer. And another thing I would put into that list is ability to work with the team. So it kind of touches on both of the previous things I've just mentioned, but in a way that to be part of the team, it's a little bit more demanding. Well, no, it's not really demanding, but it does take that certain something, that certain personality to be able to, to come in every day to work with a smile on your face, even virtually with a smile on your face. Like in our case, all of the producers we work with are in different time zones, and kind of, get on with work with a positive attitude. It impacts the whole team hugely. Every time we chat within the team, it's important to have somebody who kind of wants to be part of the team. It's those are the best people. I've worked in the past with people who were very much a one-man bands. They did the job well. They were great producers. They knew they were great producers, and in a way, they thought that they don't need to give any extra than that. Whilst I respect that, I personally don't agree with that, because where it's important for me to build a good team, that attitude just doesn't work. So, it will work when the producer has just his own or her own projects that they handle. But when they are taken on as a team member, not so much. Number 4 is managing clients and workload very well. So 90% of the time when audio producer works somewhere, he or she is a freelancer, which means that they take on many clients, they work for multiple teams, which is perfectly fine, and it's generally very much acceptable within the industry. But the one thing that is important here is that they manage that time, their time and clients very well. So it is important that they know their own abilities and they don't overstretch themselves. Again, I have experience of working with people who are fantastic producers, but their time management was absolutely, utterly rubbish. So they would take way too many clients, way too many assignments, and that would result in us nagging them for things to be done. And I really don't like that. I like people who manage their time very well and who know that they can't overcommit themselves either. So super important, very basic really, but very, very important. And and really the final element here is the skill. So as you can see, and I would actually put that final thing at the end, in the sense that if you don't have all of the other elements I've included, you can be the best producer in the world, but you will not find a good team to work with, or you will not go far in your production. So there will be a limit as to how far you will reach with those amazing skills you've got. So majority of the things really work around the attitude to work and kind of general life skills. And yeah, I hope that is of value. I'm losing this today. Okay. I hope this is of value, and I am going to share my latest audio production from today. The time, I must admit, has been a little bit limited on my side, but I'm really determined to try and get at least a tiny little bit of production time every day. It's all with the aim of becoming award-winning producer. And yeah, I hope it's going to get me somewhere, but I do need to practice. So I keep doing it every day, and I am going to post it at the end of the stream. As always, I very much welcome your feedback, and I would love to hear from you. Just post your comments, and I will be there next time you see me.
Broadcasting the best reggae music around the world. Reggae Tune FM.